Awesome. I believe we're live now. Hello everyone. And that was my attempt for my British accent this morning. I really need to work on that. Hello everybody. Valerie Lewis right here, coming to you live from the suburbs of Washington, D.C. Now, today, here we are, chapter 16. This weekend, we are wrapping up The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And, it's bittersweet. I'm excited to finish it up because I know, like, with everybody who's new to this book, it is definitely life-changing. For those of you that have read it before, it just helps to reaffirm your faith and get on in there and go for it once again. And yeah, so we're definitely going to keep this party going. Hey, Mike, what's going on? Good to see you. Okay, so let's jump on in. Chapter 16 is all about some cautions and concluding observations. So let's go ahead and get into this. Confession time. I don't think I read this yesterday. Everything's been flooding together for me. I don't think I read this. So if you didn't read it, hey, it's okay. But it's kind of better if you read it first and then we can have the conversation. And so, my apologies because I don't think I read this. Mind you, I have read the book before, a couple times before, but yeah, I really meant to read this. I don't know what I did. I don't know. But anyway, let's start at the beginning. Some cautions and concluding observations. And y'all know I love that first paragraph. He always just breaks right in and gets to the point. And I think that's something about him that I like. So, Wallace goes on to say, many people will scoff at the idea that there is an exact science of getting rich, holding the impression that the supply of wealth is limited. They will insist that social and governmental institutions must be changed before any considerable number of people can acquire a competence. But this is not true. I agree. Okay, so he goes on to say, it is true that existing governments do keep the masses in poverty, but this is because the masses do not think and act in the certain way. Okay. Now, here's something interesting. Here's what I did read yesterday. Because I'm also getting through The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by, I think it's Joseph Murphy. Can't, hold on. I might still have it open. Okay, so in this book, I was just reading about this, the fact that nobody makes you, happy or makes you sad or makes you angry. It's you deciding to entertain the thought or the action that they just did, and you process that and you make a decision to get angry about it. And although it happens really quickly, where it seems like it's involuntary, you actually took the time to say, ugh, I'm going to allow that to make me angry. And you give that power of your peace of mind and your joy to that person. And then it's, we were getting into talking about like what it takes to forgive and what effect that has on your mind, on your body. And it was just so interesting because, let me see if I can find it real quick. I hope so. I was just reading so much of this. It was so good. Maybe that's why I didn't get around to this book. I need to stop doing that. Let me just see if I can find it real quick. I know it's in these couple of pages. Was it in this part? Well, here's the summary. Let me see if I can find it in the summary. Well, anyway, one story that stuck out for me was this guy was complaining about his boss hates him, his boss doesn't like him, and that's why, even though he's highly qualified to get the promotions, he's always, not getting chosen for the promotions and things like that. And Dr. Joseph was telling him that you simply need to change your mind, change your way of thinking, right? What you think about that person is not their fault. It's not on them. And so reading this, I get that same vibe. You can't blame other people for your life. You just can't. So yes, there are, even today, some people are happy with our most recent election a couple years ago. Okay, some people are livid about it, but yet and still life goes on. So what choices are you going to make to ensure that you're in the proper position to get rich and to live the life that you want to live, right? Wattles talks about that. If the masses begin to move forward as suggested in this book, neither governments nor industrial systems can check them. All systems must be modified to accommodate the forward movement. Think about that. When there's been a major movement, especially, here in the States, we can talk about this, of course. But when there's a major movement, it doesn't matter what's going on, what the current laws are. A lot of times laws get changed because of the movement that's taking place, right? The movement that's gaining traction and momentum, right? And this happens constantly. We've seen this with slavery. We've seen this with the civil rights movement. That movement caused a lot of laws to be changed. We've seen it with LGBT. What is it now? LGBTQ. I want to be respectful of that. We've seen that. We've seen a movement there to just give people their human rights, right? Decide, when they decide, you know what, I've made up my mind that enough is enough and I want something to be done about it, it gets done. And the government makes a shift and makes a change as well. So, don't be mad at who's in office right now. Don't, that really doesn't have as much of an effect on you as you have an effect on it. Take your power back. Okay? Take your power back. Stop relinquishing and surrendering all of your future, your destiny, your power. Stop doing that. And that was something that I had to learn, some years back myself. So he said, if the people have the advancing mind, have the faith that they can become rich, and move forward with fixed purpose to become rich, nothing can possibly keep them in poverty. And see, this is the thing that people either don't know, or they make a choice to stay ignorant to, or they resent it because they're like, how can it be that easy? My whole life has been a struggle. And then they realize, oh, it's on me though. Then they don't want to accept it. Okay, so yeah, he goes on to say, I stopped mid-sentence, sorry. Oh yeah, individuals may enter upon the certain way at any time, under any government, and make themselves rich. And when any considerable number of individuals do so under any government, they will cause the system to be so modified as to open the way for others. The more men who get rich on the competitive plane, the worse it is for others. But the more who get rich on the creative plane, the better for others. And this is why people have that resentment towards corporations and capitalism. Oh, I'm so mad. Oh, people are trying to get rich. Because a lot of them are doing it on the competitive plane. And all that does is take, and it sucks the life out of society. It's like when you're in a garden and you go and you plant the seeds, you have the beautiful harvest, and there's plenty in your garden, and yet someone or something keeps going in and taking, and then taking some more, and then taking some more. And yes, it makes it good for them and who they're providing for, but it doesn't really help the garden as a whole. Like even when you're dealing with agriculture and stuff like that, there's a certain period of time you got to let the land rest. If you keep trying to take and take and take from the land by planting the seeds and trying to do harvest back to back to back, it will actually end up hurting the soil. So there are times you have to give it a break and you plant something else and you kind of shift back and forth. Those of y'all who know about agriculture know this way better than I do. Okay. But you know, you have to you have to be looking to give and to nourish, right? So it's the same thing with this. If you focus on the creative plane, you create that way for yourself, and you also create a pathway for others to follow to make the same thing happen for them. But if you're competitive and you're taking, and I'm not going to give anything, I'm not going to give any advice, I'm not going to give any information, I'm not going to help anybody, it's all about me, 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 me. People even do this in their online businesses. Oh, I just want to close my sales. I'm not going to tell anybody about how they can also get rich or have success in their business unless they pay me, right? Or unless they join my team. I'm only telling my team, and you know, good and well, they don't have a team, right? Like, it's those kinds of things. When instead, if you just always look to give before you look to receive, everybody would receive. If we were all more focused on giving, everybody would end up getting something, right? It's like, you know, hot potato, you keep passing it, passing it, passing it, people will continue to get. But if everybody focuses on getting, nobody's going to get because there's no one available to give for people to get. Hopefully that makes sense for y'all. Okay. All right. So let's see here. The economic salvation of the masses can only be accomplished by getting a large number of people to practice the scientific methods set down in this book and become rich. These will show others the way and inspire them with a desire for real life, not this automated get up, go to work, come home, get up, go to work, come home, right? But a desire for real life with the faith that it can be attained and with the purpose to attain it. For the present, however, it is enough to know that neither the government under which you live nor the capitalistic or competitive system of industry can keep you from getting rich. When you enter upon the creative plane of thought, you will rise above all these things and become a citizen of another kingdom. Okay? But remember that your thought must be held upon the creative plane. You are never for an instant to be betrayed into regarding the supply as limited or into acting on the moral level of competition. Whenever you do fall into old ways of thought, correct yourself instantly. For when you are in the competitive mind, you have lost the cooperation of the mind of the whole, that infinite intelligence. Who wouldn't want to cooperate with the all-knowing and the all-powerful and the everlasting? I think it would behoove you to get his cooperation. Okay, so before we get into some of this on the next page, I want to bring up I want you to look at Oprah for an example, okay? And I think I talked about her the other day. But if you look at her as an example, right? She comes in on the talk show scene, and of course there are other things that happened in her life before that. But I just want to start at this point. She comes into the talk show scene where it's that, you know, trash, the trash talk media, right? And you've got, you know, Phil Donahue, which was big. I remember that being little. Everybody watched Donahue, right? Um, and there was, oh my gosh, who else was it? What's his name? Rivera. Geraldo Rivera. Um, there was Sally Jesse Raphael, you know, all these talk show hosts. Like, talk was big. And during that time, it was very competitive. And I had heard Oprah say that when she was offered her talk show in Chicago, people told her, she said everybody except her best friend Gail told her, don't go because you're going to fail. You're going to fail if you do it, because of the outside sources, because it's Chicago. Oh, Chicago's racist. Don't go over there. You're never going to make it. Right? So one, don't listen to other people. You have to listen to that infinite intelligence that dwells inside of you as well. Okay? People call it intuition. Some people call it the Holy Spirit. Listen to it. Okay? Because if she'd have listened to everybody else, she'd been broke. Would nobody know the name Oprah. Okay? But anyway, so they're telling her, don't do it, you're gonna fail. Chicago's this, Chicago's that. Oh, there's so many other talk shows out there. Oh, how are you gonna beat the king of talk, Phil Donahue? Oh, you're never gonna make it. And it ended up she outlasted Donahue. So today in this generation, most kids don't even know who that was. Like, who? Phil? Who? What? But they know Oprah, right? Um, so when you look at it like that, she comes in, and at first, um, the show was in that competitive plane, right? And so although she was able to advance, and don't get me wrong, you could advance being competitive. When you look at the big three in the early 1900s, where you had Rockefeller and J.P. Morgan and Andrew Carnegie, when you look at them, they created massive wealth. The government had to borrow money from, which one was it? Rockefeller? It was either Rockefeller or Morgan, and they had to borrow it twice. They went to him twice for a bailout. A lot of people don't know that. Okay, so you could get rich on the competitive plane, but you got to remember that saying: easy come, easy go. When something comes in where you are fighting your way to the top and there's only one prize, and you're fighting people and knocking them down and hurting others to get it, you're not going to have it for very long, because there's still competition going on, and there are still people striving to get to the top, and they're going to want to take it from you. So instead of focusing on that, right, you want to focus on the creative. So let me get back to Oprah. Okay, so there she is, and her talk show is trying to compete with these other talk shows, and they're doing the same kinds of shows, the same types of episodes that they're doing. It's the trash stuff. It's the, oh, I'm gonna have, and she said this, oh, I'm gonna have the Ku Klux Klan on. And then I realized they were using my platform against me, my own platform. They were actually using that episode to recruit more people in the Klan. They knew what they were doing. That's the whole reason why they came on the show. And she was thinking, I'm going to have them on, and we're going to ask questions, and I'm going to say stuff to them, and I'm going to enlighten them. No. Right? And so and she did it for the ratings, right? She did it for the competition. And then she goes, and she says shortly after that, she had on these three people. It was a husband and wife, and the husband's girlfriend. And the husband had announced on live TV that his girlfriend was pregnant. And everybody's mouths dropped, Oprah included. And she said, in that moment, I saw that wife's humiliation. I saw it. I felt it. And I was like, never again will I do a show like this. This is not right. To have these shows, to do these episodes for the shock value, for the competition, to live in that plane just was not right. It made her sick to her stomach. Okay? And so she said, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to use my platform for the right reasons. So when you have a platform, or you have anything, you can either use it for good or for bad. Money included. Money is neither good nor bad. It's just money. It's just a tool. But what you use it for makes all the difference. And how you get it, how you obtain it, makes all the difference. Right? Same thing with a hammer. A hammer's a tool. It could be used to help build houses and build schools and libraries, or it could be used to bash somebody's head in. Which one do you want to use it for? And then when you go about getting the hammer, you can either purchase it from the store like you're supposed to, or you can rob somebody and steal it. Like, it's not just what you use it for, it's also how you get it. Right? So anyway, point is, although she was in the competitive plane at that time, and she did well, once she made the shift from competitive to creative, and she said, listen, she talked to her producer, she said, look, I want to have shows that are going to be of some value to people. It's going to be value from now on. I talk about this a lot when I coach my online business clients. It's all about the value. Forget about what everybody else is doing. If you do what everybody else is doing, you're going to get what everybody else is getting, which is the average. It's the mediocrity. Okay, you don't want that. You want excellence. In order to be excellent, you have to tap into your own strengths and you have to draw from that. You can only do that on the creative plane where you can finally stop focusing on and wasting your time and energy on what they doing over there, what's happening over there, and instead focus on you and your connection with that infinite intelligence. Stay focused on that. So good. So mind you, around that time when Oprah was in the competitive plane, yes, she was making big money. She was breaking records and making history as, you know, a black woman who had risen so quickly. I actually remember being in the car. I don't know where we were driving to, but I remember we were on Suitland Parkway, and I heard on the radio, people were saying, "Oh my goodness, you know, Oprah has just reached $250,000 a year. She's the richest black woman." And I'm like, "Really? Oh, one of these days she's gonna reach, you know, $1 million in net worth and all this stuff." And it was like, "Oh, she brought in $250,000." And I was like, "Okay." But I was a little girl, so I was just like, "Well, okay." But to be in that plane and to have reached those levels of, you know, her first quarter of a million, her first half million, her first million, her first couple million, you know, that would be great in and of itself. Some people, that would just be the end all be all. But when she finally transformed and made that transition into the competitive plane and she started using her platform to help other people, as she puts it, to help them connect with themselves, to find that connection of who they are and what their purpose is. That's what she had started using her platform for, to show people how they can get to the next level in their lives, how they can, um, yeah, be connected to themselves, is what she said. And I was like, oh, that's so good, that's so deep. But once she hit the creative plane, and she finally started to tap into who is Oprah? Why is Oprah on this planet? And what can I use this massive platform for that will benefit other people and that will help enrich and impact lives? What can I do with that? That's when she became a billionaire. A lot of people would have stopped at the millions. A lot of people would have said, awesome. But she would have been living in the easy come, easy go. Because all it would have taken was another talk show host to come out and have even more outrageous topics than she did. And boom, they would have been at the top. But when she made the shift, that's when her ratings went far beyond Phil Donahue. That's when she blew everybody else out of the water. That's when, and not even trying to, you know, that's when people started to look at her in a different light, that she wasn't just a talk show host. They felt like she was like a friend. You know what I mean? Like it was major. So, same thing for you. You know, this happens with a lot of people. Even if you look at the author of The Secret, you know, who, what's her name? Rhonda Byrne. Why can't I remember people's names today? I'm so sorry. But, even when you think about her, right when she got a copy of this book that we're reading right now, The Science of Getting Rich, that's what she calls The Secret. She did not know that this book existed. And she was going through depression. I think she had said her father had just passed away. Um, you know, her mother wasn't doing very well. Then she had her daughter to worry about, and her daughter was like, listen, everything is going to be okay. And that's when her daughter had introduced her to The Science of Getting Rich. And once she read this book, you guys, and she started to pull out of that depression and realize that she could still have the life that she wanted, but she had to start thinking and acting in a certain way. And she had to tap into her creativity. She got the idea, oh my God, I need to write a book about this book. Now she's a millionaire. Like, come on. Get creative. Get creative. There's an idea, there's a thought that you have inside of your head that is either totally original that people haven't thought about before, or it's an improvement to a previous idea. Tap into that. Okay, but you can never tap into that if you're spending all that time and energy focused on what everybody else is doing and I want to go and be that person, but better. You're not going to get far. And you won't get there for long. You won't be there for long once you do get there. Okay. So just wanted to share that with you guys. So anyway, he goes on to say, do not spend any time in planning as to how you will meet possible emergencies in the future, except as the necessary policies may affect your actions today. Okay? Stop asking, oh, well, what if I call this prospect and they say no? But you didn't call the prospect and they didn't say no. So why are you worried about that? Right? Right? What if I invest my money into this company and it flops and I lose my investment? But you didn't invest any money and you didn't lose anything. So why are we focused on this? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I don't want to spend my money on this, because what if something happens and an emergency comes up? Nobody, like, no, where did that come from? Where did that come from? Where did that mental movie come from that you decided to write, produce, direct, and act out all in your mind? Like, stop it, okay? You're not gonna win an Oscar that way. Okay, so don't focus on those things. Focus on, like he said in previous chapters, what you can do today. What can you get done today? Focus on that, right? So you are concerned with doing today's work in a perfectly successful manner and not with the emergencies which may arise tomorrow. You can attend to them as they come. Jesus himself said that, right? Do not concern yourself with questions as to how you shall surmount obstacles which may loom upon your business horizon, like I just gave you a couple examples, right? Unless you can see plainly that your course must be altered today in order to avoid them. So no matter how tremendous an obstruction may appear at a distance, you will find that if you go on in the certain way, it'll disappear as you approach it, or that a way over, through, or around it will appear for you. Boom. Okay. No possible combination of circumstances can defeat a man or a woman who is proceeding to get rich along strictly scientific lines. No man or woman who obeys the law can fail to get rich, any more than one can multiply 2 by 2 and fail to get 4. Now I want you to think about this. When you're following the law, right? Let's say you're following the speed limit, is there ever any doubt that you're going to get a ticket for speeding? Is there ever any doubt that you're going to get fined, for speeding when you're driving under the speed limit and you're following the law? No, there's no doubt about that. You're not going to, drive to work under the speed limit on time. You gave yourself plenty of time to get there. And a couple weeks later, you get a notice in the mail that you're fined for speeding. It's not going to happen. Right? If you follow the law and you slow down at a yellow light so that you can stop when it turns red, you will never get a red light ticket. Right? So when you follow the law towards the science of getting rich, there is no way that you're going to get the opposite of that result. There's no way you're going to be poor if you follow these laws. There's no way you're not going to accomplish the goal set out for yourself if you follow this. It's an exact science. Just like when you multiply 2 times 2, you will always get 4. You'll never get 5. You'll never get 3.5. You will always get 4. It is the same way. Okay. So give no anxious thought to possible disasters, obstacles, panics, or unfavorable combinations of circumstances. It's a waste of daggone time. Okay. It is time enough to meet such things when they present themselves before you in the immediate present, and you will find that every difficulty carries with it the wherewithal for its overcoming. So people think that that's wise, and that it's preparation if I think about all of these things that could possibly happen. No, it's a waste of time. If you sat there and tried to come up with all the different possibilities that could happen for you, you would run out of time. Like it would really run into infinity. All the different combinations and permutations of what you could have. Oh my gosh. That's a total waste of time. Okay? Focus on using what's in front of you, that you see in front of you. Use those things to get you where you see that has not been manifested yet. That vision that you have. Those are the only two things you need to focus on. You don't need to focus on anybody else, any other thoughts, real or unreal. Look, like, I mean, how simple can this get? Okay. So he goes on to say, guard your speech. Never speak of yourself, your affairs, or of anything else in a discouraged or discouraging way. Never admit the possibility of failure or speak in a way that infers failure as a possibility. So no more what ifs. Stop with the what. Throw that completely out of your vocabulary. I don't say what if. I just don't say it. And I don't say can't. There may be something I haven't done yet, but it is not because I don't have the ability to do it. God has empowered me to do anything that I want to do. Okay? So I don't use those words when it comes to growing my business. I don't use those words when it comes to raising my kids. It's not about can't. It's not about, oh no, what if my teenagers go wild? I don't ever entertain the thought. And that's why they don't. They haven't gone wild. Okay? Great. I never think about what if they do. Okay? Let's see. Yes, train yourself. Oh, I'm sorry. I passed this one. Yes, times may be hard and business doubtful for those who are on the competitive plane, but they can never be so for you. You can create what you want, and you are above fear. You're above fear. Stop allowing fear to make you think that it's your master. Sorry, guys. Okay. Stop allowing fear to make you think, to trick you into thinking it's your master and that it has some kind of control or power over you. You're above it. You're above it. Best way to get over fear, get through it. Keep going anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Okay? But don't allow it to cripple you. Don't allow it to paralyze you and keep you stuck. Because all fear is, people use that acronym, is false evidence appearing real. Right? So don't live your life allowing a lie to keep you where you are. Oh gosh, I feel like I have to sneeze. I'm sorry, you guys. But yeah, don't allow fear to keep you stuck where you are. Because that's what you're doing. You're allowing a lie to create your truth. But it's a lie though. It's not even real. I love it. Okay. So when others are having hard times and poor business, you will find your greatest opportunities. Train yourself to think of and to look upon the world as something which is becoming, all right, which is growing, and to regard seeming evil as being only that which is undeveloped. Always speak in terms of advancement. To do otherwise is to deny your faith, and to deny your faith is to lose it. Never allow yourself to feel disappointed. You may expect to have a certain thing at a certain time and not get it at that time, and this will appear to you like failure, but if you hold to your faith, you will find that the failure is only apparent. It just looks like that, okay? Go on in the certain way, and if you do not receive that thing, you will receive something so much better that you will see that seeming failure was actually really a great success. I love it. All right, so is the sneeze coming or what? Oh my God. I thought it was coming. So a student of this science had set his mind on making a certain business combination which seemed to him at the time to be very desirable, and he worked for some weeks to bring it about. When the crucial time came, the thing failed in a perfectly inexplicable way. It was as if some it was as if some unseen influence had been working secretly against him. He was not disappointed, though. On the contrary, he thanked God. He thanked God. Do you thank God in your disappointments? Do you thank him or do you blame him? Y'all don't hear me today, okay? This is so good. Okay. So he thanked God that his desire had been overruled. Overruled. I like that. And went steadily on with a grateful mind. In a few weeks, an opportunity so much better came his way that he would not have made the first deal on any account. And he saw that a mind which knew more than he knew had prevented him, protected him, right, from losing the greater good by entangling himself with the lesser. I love it. I love it. You have this happen to yourself all the time. Matter of fact, I was reading that in the power of your subconscious mind. This lady was stood up at the altar, and yet she wasn't disappointed. You know, most people would be crying, throwing a fit, feeling very humiliated, but she was not upset about it, because she said, I had actually prayed beforehand, for that guidance. I prayed to be led to the right path on both our accounts. And so since he didn't show up, this just goes to show that divine intelligence was looking out for me, and I was like, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so good. So you guys have to go read that book too. I think I might make that book next. Okay, we might start that tomorrow or Monday. Yeah, okay. The book's so good. All right, so anyway, all right, so yes, it is. I'm sorry, that is the way every seeming failure will work out for you. If you keep your faith, hold to your purpose, have gratitude, and do every day all that can be done that day, doing each separate act in a successful manner. When you make a failure, it's because you haven't asked for enough. When you make a failure, it's because you haven't asked for enough. Boy, okay. I love it. Love it. Keep on, and a larger thing than you were seeking will certainly come to you. Remember this. You will not fail because you lack the necessary talent to do what you wish to do. If you go on as I have directed, you will develop all the talent that's necessary to the doing of your work. When people come to me and they say, well, Val, I'm not a very technical person. I don't know how I'm going to be able to, start and make my online business successful. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to set up a blog. I don't know how to market online. I don't know how to create content. You will develop that talent if you continue doing what is the certain way. If you continue moving forth, holding your faith that you know this is going to work out for you, holding to your purpose that you got into this business for a specific reason, to use this as the vehicle to get you where you want to be in your life. If you have gratitude, always thankful for everything that is coming your way, whether it is seemingly good or seemingly bad. Sometimes things appear great and it turns out not so great. Sometimes things appear awful and they turn out perfect. Better than you could have ever planned it. So you don't want to ever lose that gratitude. And then each and every day you do the things that need to be done that day. If you don't know how to set up a blog, you can learn how to set up a blog that day, right? Even if you have to do it in bits and pieces, if you just take one step at a time, do all you can do to the best of your ability in that moment, then tomorrow you'll be better than you were yesterday. Boy, stop. Okay, here we go. Oh, I love this. It is not within the scope of this book to deal with the science of cultivating talent, okay? But it is as certain and as simple as the process of getting rich. Like I just said. You don't have a skill, go develop the skill. And in this day and age, here we are, fast forward over 100 years beyond when he wrote this book. Here we are at a time where it's just information at your fingertips. Within less than a second, you can get the answer to whatever you want to know. Hello, Google, right? When people ask me questions, I'm like, don't you have Google? Like, back in my day, if you wanted to know something, you needed to pull out that book, the new book of knowledge encyclopedias, and hope it's in there, right? And hope you're not looking up something that happened after the books were published. Y'all gonna have to order a new edition, right? Or you would have to ask your parent if they could drive you to the library, and you had to look up microfiche, or you had to go through the card catalog, or know your Dewey Decimal System and start looking. Then you had to find the book. Then you had to go through. You'd have a handful of books, hoping one of these books has the answer to what you're looking for, and you had to go through each and every one until you found it. Today, you've got Google. Look it up. There's no reason why a person shouldn't know what they want to know. If you really want to know, go look it up. You will find the right resources. Okay? So, like, you don't even need to know how to spell these days. You just start typing it in Google and it pops up. It's like, come on. Like, seriously? Okay? All right, so, here we go. However, do not hesitate or waver for fear that when you come to any certain place that you will fail for lack of ability. Okay? Keep right on. And when you come to that place, the ability will be furnished to you. Maybe you have come across this video, and here we are on chapter 16. We're one chapter away from the end. Maybe you hadn't seen any of the other videos before, but there was something that brought you to my video, this video, today. Because you have been wondering, how can I get rich? How can I transform my life? Maybe you're in a similar situation as oh my gosh, what is her name? Rhonda Byrne. Dang, I messed it all up. Rhonda Byrne. Maybe you're in a similar situation as she is, and you're going through depression, and you're trying to figure out, is God punishing me? Does he actually love me? How can I go about living that life that I want? How can I just be happy? Read this book, The Science of Getting Rich. And I know what people will say, oh, Val's trying to use this book as money doesn't bring happiness. It depends on what you call happiness, to be honest. What do you call happiness? Because for me, getting rich helps me to be able to use that tool of money, that resource, to get all the other resources that I require. I require it. I demand it in order for me to live a life that's going to be fulfilling, which brings me happiness and joy. I don't want to be living on the street corner somewhere. I want a house, and I want a nice house. I want a house I can be comfortable in. I want a house that's going to be in a safe neighborhood. I want a house that my children can enjoy growing up in, right? I want to be able to travel so that I can explore and soak in all the beauty that God has put on this planet for me to go and observe and experience. I need money for that. Hello. Okay? So, when you're looking, whatever your reason, whatever brought you here today, I want you to remember that one point. Okay? That one point that's in this chapter. And I'll say it again. Keep right on. Keep right on. And when you come to the place, the ability will be furnished to you. Here is your time. The ability for you to get the answer to what you've been looking for is being furnished to you right now through you coming across my video. Subscribe, because there will be more furnished to you. Okay? When you are when you're seeking truth, when you're seeking a way, you will find it. It will be presented to you on a silver platter. Okay, God loves you. He loves each and every last one of us on this planet. He wants to provide you with everything in your life that's going to make you happy. Here, now, on earth, as it is in heaven. Boom. Don't let anybody tell you anything differently. And I'm not going to get, too far into that. I'll have other videos about those things. But you're here for a reason. Maybe it's time you pick up this book. Right? Or maybe it's time for you to keep reading and go ahead and get to the end if you've been following me this whole time. So, yeah, that was just on my heart to share. So, yeah, the same source of ability which enabled the untaught Lincoln to do the greatest work in government ever accomplished by a single man is also open to you. You may draw upon all the mind there is for wisdom, okay, to use in meeting the responsibilities which are laid upon you. Go on in full faith. Study this book. Make it your constant companion until you have mastered all of the ideas contained in it. And while you are getting firmly established in this faith, you will do well to give up most recreations and pleasures, and to stay away from places where ideas conflicting with these are advanced in lectures or sermons. Do not read pessimistic or conflicting literature. Do not get into arguments upon this matter. Do very little reading outside of the writers mentioned in the preface, and spend most of your leisure time in contemplating your vision and in cultivating gratitude and in reading this book. It contains all you need to know of the science of getting rich, and you will find all the essentials summed up in the following chapter. Okay, so that's it. That's the end of this particular chapter. Hope you loved it. Share with me your biggest takeaways in this chapter. Okay, make sure that you do that. Even if you haven't caught me live and you're catching the replay, totally fine. You know, that's why it's here on YouTube. I do want to continue to like start this movement and get this going, and opening up the door for conversation on this. But yeah, like I totally agree with him. And there have been some people that nitpick at things that are in the book or not in the book, you know. And I think I will do an additional video about that. I'm trying to make sure that I write this down somewhere so I don't forget. But you've probably seen them. There's some videos out here on YouTube about, oh, well, he left this part out, and this is I think it's important too. Okay, well, you think it's important, you go write your own daggone book. Okay, he didn't put that in the book, right? Or people will say that he didn't mention stuff, and I'm like, he mentioned it in like 4 chapters. What are you talking about? Oh, he didn't mention you need to do this. And I'm like, he totally did. You need to go read it again. That's why he says read this book over and over. Okay? Because sometimes you miss the stuff. So anyway, you guys, hopefully you're getting tons of value from this, and it is changing your life as we speak. I am really excited about it. Please share with me some, not only your breakthroughs and your takeaways from this, but also share with me some of the results, the progress in life and in business that you're having from knowing the truths in this book. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to talking to you guys. We'll probably do this later on today. I'll come back and we will wrap up with chapter 17. Okay, because you know, before what had happened was I had that one day we missed because of that terrible internet, and I had to get a replacement router. So really today we should have been on 17. So yeah, both of these chapters are short. You've got time. Hurry up, go read it. Chapter 17 is only slightly over 1 page. Okay, and I will do another video about that. So, let's see. I think I'll come back at about 2 p.m. Eastern Time. It's 11:57 right now. I'll come back 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can find it. And of course, if you're catching the replay, it'll already be there for you to go ahead and check out. Okay, probably even have a card up. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. You've been amazing, and I will see all of you in the next video. Bye.